Hello, how's it going? By the way, Merry belated Christmas and Happy belated New Year, because I believe the last time I did a video was before those holidays. Sorry it's been so long, but I am back. And today we are going to talk about the truth about willpower. This one I could probably talk all night about, but luckily for the viewers, my camera doesn't have enough capacity for that, and I don't have that kind of time either. So I'm going to just get right to it and talk about what that means, the truth about willpower. One thing I will tell you is that it's finite, fickle, meaning it does not last forever. It should not be used as a long-term remedy to like break an addiction or, stay on the right path with whatever it is you're doing. You're trying to quit drinking, quit smoking, quit using drugs, you're trying to diet, a lot of things. But willpower is not the only remedy you should ever use. It does play a key role. Now, basically a team effort, it's a combination, I believe, of willpower, perception, perspective that it takes to break an addiction. So I'll explain the truth about willpower, and that is it's like caging a beast, right? And the longer you keep that beast caged, and think of the beast as a craving, the longer you keep that caged, the stronger it gets. The craving gets stronger the more you only use willpower. See? So if it's just willpower you're using, eventually the craving is going to build up. And if you're not seeing the benefit of quitting the addiction, that craving is going to build up more and more, and eventually, poof, break out, and you're going to binge on whatever it is you were breaking the addiction of. So I've done it. So like, for example, 7 years ago, I went on a diet. I lost 70 pounds in 1 year. Yeah, I was pretty grown out. I think I might have mentioned that in one of my videos, maybe a few of them. But what got me to stick on the right path was, eventually it wasn't just willpower. At first it was. That's what got me started, was will. It kept me going for maybe about a month and a half, and poof, gave in and binge ate, and I felt like giving up after that, because it's like, okay, I'm done. This is it. I screwed it up. But no, I started remembering, well, you did lose like 5 to 10 pounds on this so far. Just remember this, the number on the scale is going down. You're seeing results. That's what I kept telling myself. You're seeing results. And that's why you keep going. That's what keeps you in the game. That's what keeps you holding on, is you see the benefit of breaking these addictions. You see results, so me being on a diet, I noticed my numbers on the scale was going down. I was looking thinner. People were starting to notice, hey, you look like you've lost some weight, Looked at a before image, after. That got me back on the right track. Gave me that second wind, and back to the races I was. So, but yeah, it's just willpower. If that's all you're using, a lot of times that's going to backfire. Chances are you're going to fail at breaking the addiction. Because if you're relying all on willpower, I don't know, that's no way to live, is using willpower to get you through anything. Willpower, I believe, should only be a temporary remedy for certain things, whatever that may be, temporary. But longevity, long term, it should all be about the perspective and perception of why you're doing this. And you got to have a why and a how. Why and how are you going to break the addiction? What are you trying to accomplish? So, for example, also I've been watching this YouTube channel called Sober Leon, and he used to be an alcoholic for 10 years. It was really bad. He lives over in Thailand. So there's a lot of areas he lived in that was kind of revolving around alcohol. But his way of looking at it, of being sober, he didn't use willpower or AA. He tried those things. They didn't work for him. It backfired on him. Basically, what he used was first principles thinking, basically seeing alcohol for what it was, and that is a poison. It's nothing more than that. And the feeling it gives you, that good feeling, is an illusion. I 100% agree. It's an illusion. It's a trick. You may not need alcohol to do the things you do in public, to socialize. You just think you do. Like, that's what we've been led to believe. See, we've been tricked into thinking that it is a good thing. But see, he's teaching us that it's nothing but a poison. You know, you're basically drinking like antifreeze, engine oil, gasoline, bleach, anything with like ethanol in it, which could easily kill you. It's poisonous. You're drinking a poison when you drink alcohol. That's how he looks at it. That's what he's learned to view it as. He doesn't use willpower. Like, he can be surrounded by a bunch of drinkers. He can be having the worst day of his life, be surrounded by all kinds of drinkers, and have free drinks being brought to him. And he can easily say, nope. He doesn't even flinch. That doesn't faze him. He won't even give in. He won't flinch. He's practiced and mastered his sobriety, not by the art of willpower, but the art of perception and perspective. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're giving into an addiction because you ran out of willpower, because that's all you were using to try to break the addiction, don't feel ashamed. That's naturally going to happen if willpower was your only remedy, right? That's naturally going to happen because it's only going to get you so far. You know, I believe in using willpower when I lift weights, or, you know, like when I used to do more cardio and run on the treadmill. I used willpower to get me to the finish line, whatever it was. Use willpower to finish that set and do that last rep on that set. You know, like I said, it's temporary. It's not something you should have to use for everything. You know, like, it should be a combination of willpower and perception. Willpower, perception, perspective. Not just willpower. If there's no perception or perspective on it, and if you're just quitting the addiction just to quit it because that seems like the, you know, which is a responsible thing to do, and it is. But then everyone's going to question, without a good perception or perspective of it, they're going to question, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I quitting? Just because it's a good idea? It is a good idea. But there has to be more to it than that. There has to be a why and a how. So like I said, don't feel ashamed of yourself if you give in to an addiction from just using willpower to try to break it. Because like I said, that will happen. And that's why I want to teach, just like what Sober Leon teaches, is that willpower is not the only thing, not the only way. Perception, perspective. And if we can master all of those things, willpower, perception, perspective, on an addiction, it'll make more sense of why we need to break those. And I'm still mastering breaking the alcohol addiction, but I've made the promise to myself to at least cut back on it. And I'm going to go for at least a little while without it. I feel like if it's done within reason, responsibly, I'll do it once in a while, but not as often as I used to, not every weekend. That's something I gotta get back on the horse of. You know, like I was doing the last 2.5 months of 2022. I was on a roll, and then New Year's Eve hit, and oof, back to square one. I had the right perspective on it, and I was using a lot of willpower. My perspective on it was, why I was quitting was, well, I didn't want to feel hungover the next day. I wanted to have more energy, wanted to have more motivation, you know, and I wanted to prove to myself that I don't need alcohol in a social situation. And I did that for a while, but even the combination of willpower and perception kind of gave out at some point. But I know I can get back on the horse. I know I can get back to work, let's just say. I know it's all in here, and it's all in here. It's just something I still got to master, because it was something I was used to doing every weekend. And that could be another thing. It could be an addiction. You're so used to doing that. When you quit cold turkey, you don't feel right without it. You feel like you can't breathe without it. And that's why at first, it seems like willpower is the first thing we rely on, because that's the only thing we know to use. Where eventually, over time, if we can put our minds to it and see the right perspective and the right perception and see, okay, why should I quit smoking? Well, you know what? Every day I go without smoking, I decrease the risk of lung cancer. I've never smoked, by the way, I'm just hypothetically speaking. Quit smoking, you decrease the risk of cancer. Every day you don't have a cigarette, you only get healthier. Every day you don't have a drink, you only get healthier. That's the way I looked at it too. Like, every day I wasn't drinking alcohol, I felt like I was getting healthier. And it does serve good long-term benefits. You might not always feel it, but it does. But I believe, once in a while, if you can control it, well, that's when your willpower can, be a factor. Is okay once in a great while, but then you keep it at that, and you don't do it again for a while. But I mean, if you're one of those people that, if one becomes 100, I wouldn't even start. I wouldn't even do one. So that's the biggest issue I had too. So just remember, if willpower is your only remedy, just take a few steps back and be like, okay, wait, why else am I doing this? Why else am I breaking this addiction? What am I trying to achieve? What is your goal? What is the goal? Look to see what the goal is of doing it. Look to see at the prize. Look at the top of the mountain. There's the prize up there. I gotta climb this mountain. But then there's a prize at the top of the mountain, man. But every time I give into that addiction, I fall back down the mountain even more, and I gotta start over and climb back up. So like with my drinking, I relapsed 2-3 times already this year. I gotta start over on my sobriety streak. I won't be able to claim that I've been 30 days, 50 days sober, 70 days sober, 100 days sober for a while. Like I was just about going on 100 days here if I wouldn't have relapsed those times. It just means I have to start over, and that's kind of what motivated me to stay on track with my diet. I felt like if I gave in too much, if I gave into the binge eating too much, I would have to start over. And that all the work that all the results that I achieved along the way would have been for nothing. That's my motivation to stay in it today, like why I try to stay in shape, why I'm still doing it, because I want to keep the weight off that I used to have, keep that body fat off I used to have. And what motivates me is I spent a whole year trying to get rid of that. And if I go back into that habit of eating as much as I want every day, eating too much, binge eating every day, then I go back to square one, to that person that I was before. And I don't want to be that. I spent too much time, too much work on getting rid of that guy. And that's what motivates me to stay in the game. It's not much willpower anymore. Like, my willpower has very little to do with me staying on track and me staying in the weightlifting game. What gets me to go to the gym every day, it's not necessarily just willpower. It's the fact that I don't feel right not doing it. I can't breathe if I don't lift weights. I learned to get addicted to weightlifting. I've learned to create a new addiction. That's probably going to be your best remedy, is defeat the bad addiction with a good addiction. Get addicted to something good, something that's going to make your life better. It doesn't happen overnight, but I believe that is the secret to defeating a bad addiction, because that's how I did it. So, anyway, I hope this helps, and once again, Merry belated Christmas and Happy belated New Year, and I will be seeing you hopefully sooner rather than later. Have a good weekend. Bye.